everyone, welcome back to my class. This is Rumana Ali. I hope you all are fine. So in today's class, I'm going to explain you about the soil microorganisms. So not only in humans, the microorganisms are also responsible to cause the diseases in animals as well as in plants. When we talk about the diseases caused by the microorganisms in animals, then it includes anthrax, viral diseases, the bird flu, rabies. These are the different kinds of diseases that are caused by the different microorganisms in the different animals. Anthrax is a disease which can be seen in the sheep and also in the goats, and the viral diseases can be seen in the prawns and fishes, and the animals that are present in the poultry farm, they can be affected by the different microorganisms, and these microorganisms are responsible to cause the disease like bird flu in them, and this can leads to the death of the chickens also. The next one is rabies. Rabies is also a disease which is found in the dogs, and it is caused by the microorganisms only. If the rabies disease will not be treated or it is not be prevented, then if the dog who is suffering from the rabies, if it bites the person may also get the rabies disease, and it can leads to the death of the person. So this is about the diseases which are caused by the microorganisms in the different animals. Now we'll talk about the diseases caused by the microorganisms in plants. The first one is citrus canker. This is a name of a disease which is caused by the bacteria. If the citrus plants are affected by the bacteria, then it leads to the disease called citrus canker. And red rot of sugar cane. So the fungi, when it enters into the plant of the sugar cane, or when it affects the sugar cane, then it causes the disease called red rot of sugar cane. The next one is ticca and groundnut. We can find the patches on the leaves of the groundnut, and this is called as ticca disease in groundnut, which is caused by the fungi. The virus, which is named as tobacco mosaic virus, is responsible for causing the disease called tobacco mosaic in the tobacco plants. Okay, so mosaic means patches. When we find the patches or the dark spots or the yellowing spots on the leaves of the tobacco, then that is nothing but the tobacco mosaic disease. Next one is smut disease of rice. This is a disease which is found in the rice plants and which is caused by the microorganisms like fungus. So this is about the diseases, or this is about the different diseases that can be found in animals and in the plants because of the microorganisms, because of the entry of the microorganisms in them. Now I am going to explain you about the topic food poisoning. Food poisoning, we might have heard about this food poisoning in the newspapers, like certain children of the different schools affected because of the consumption of spoiled food. So we might have heard about this food poisoning in the newspapers also, like certain children of a school, they have died because of the food poisoning. So this food poisoning is nothing but the spoilage of food by the action of the microorganisms. When we keep the food uncovered, then it shows the growth of the microorganisms. So when the microorganisms grow on that food, these microorganisms are responsible for the secretion of some, or for producing some toxic substances in them. When these microorganisms releases some toxic substances in that food, then these toxic materials, if it enters into the body of the human, then it leads to the condition called food poisoning. So in simple words, the food poisoning can be defined as the spoilage of food by the microorganism. So whenever the food is uncovered, or whenever the food is kept without any proper preservation, then it leads to the spoilage, and if that spoiled food is consumed by the human beings, then it results in the food poisoning, and the human body shows the different symptoms like vomitings, diarrhea, and in some conditions it may lead to death also. So to prevent this food poisoning, to prevent the growth of the microorganisms on the food that leads to the spoilage of food, we need to conserve, we need to preserve the food properly. We should cover the food properly, and we should keep it in a proper and a dry place, because these microorganisms, they grow depending upon the moisture and temperature. So if we preserve the food properly, then there is no chance to grow there is no chance for the microorganisms to grow on the food, to spoil the food. So in this way we can prevent the condition called food poisoning. This food poisoning is a very dangerous condition that can affect the internal systems of the human body, and it can lead to death also. So this dangerous condition can be termed as botulism. Let us talk about the food preservation. Food preservation is the protection of food from the microorganisms. That means when we prevent the growth of the microorganisms on the food materials, that is called as food preservation. We have just before we have discussed about the food poisoning, which is caused by the consumption of spoiled food. So if we preserve the food properly, or if we keep the food in a proper place and in a proper manner, then it will not allow the microorganisms to grow on it. So in this way we can prevent the spoilage of food. That is nothing but food preservation, preventing the spoilage of food. So how can we prevent the spoilage of food? We need to keep the food covered, and we should keep the food in a dry places, because there are the two main factors that affects the growth of the microorganisms, like temperature and moisture. Wherever the moisture is present, the bacteria can easily grow, and optimum temperatures the microorganisms can grow and can spoil the food. So these factors needs to be controlled in order to preserve the food material. So how can we control these factors? How can we control the growth of the microorganisms? We can follow certain methods like salting. Salting is a very ancient method which can be used to preserve the food materials. By adding the large amount of the salt to the food, we can preserve it, because salting of food takes away the moisture from the food. So if the moisture is not present, if the food is kept in a dry place and it is salted, then it would not allow the bacteria to grow in it, and in this way we can preserve the different food materials. The next one is low temperature. If the cooked food is kept at the room temperature, then it gets spoiled. Within some time it gets spoiled. So to preserve that cooked food, we need to keep it in the refrigerator. So in this way the low temperature also helps in the food preservation methods. The next is heating and cooling. Heating and cooling are the methods that are very effective in the food preservation processes. For example, milk. When we boil the milk or when we heat the milk, then it prevents the growth of the bacteria in them, and we can keep the milk for a longer period of time. In this way, the milk preservation can take place by heating process. And cooling means, just now we have studied about the low temperature, the use of refrigerators. So when we use the refrigerator to keep our cooked food items, it can be prevented from spoilage. The microorganisms cannot be grown in that cooked food if we keep it at low temperature. So in this way the heating and the cooling are the two main processes that helps in the food preservation. The next one is pasteurization. It is a process of food preservation. It is also a process of food preservation, and by this method we can preserve the milk. Milk can be preserved or it can be stored by applying the method called pasteurization. So in this method the milk is heated up to 70 degrees centigrade for 15 to 30 seconds, and after heating suddenly it is chilled and stored. So this process is called as pasteurization. In this way we can prevent the growth of the bacteria in the milk, and the milk can be stored for a longer period of time, and it can be preserved by this heating and cooling method. So this method was given by a scientist named Louis Pasteur. Louis Pasteur was a great microbiologist who has discovered many vaccines for many diseases, and he has given the method of food preservation called pasteurization. So Louis Pasteur was a teacher, and he was very interested in studying and in teaching the mathematics and other sciences. So while he was studying about the crystals, some people of wine industry, they came to him and they were approaching him to find out a method by which they can preserve the wine for the longer period of time. They were finding many difficulties in preserving and in storing the wines. So after approaching him, he was studying or he studied about the different methods, and he has given the method by which they can preserve the wine, and that method is nothing but pasteurization. In the pasteurization, what we need to do is heating at a higher temperature for few seconds, and then suddenly it should be chilled and it can store. So this heating and the cooling process can prevent the growth of the bacteria in many of the liquids, and this method of food preservation was given by a scientist named Louis Pasteur. So this method of food preservation called pasteurization was given by a scientist named Louis Pasteur. He has given many things. He discovered many things and he contributed in the field of science. So let us see his contributions. The first thing is the process of food preservation, that is pasteurization. The next thing is he proposed germ theory. He was a person who said that the diseases are caused by the microorganisms, that is by the germs. He was a person who described about the disease called anthrax. Anthrax is a disease that is mostly found in the poultry farm animals like sheep, mostly found in the sheep and goats. So this anthrax disease is found and it is described by a scientist named Louis Pasteur, and he has also discovered the vaccine for this disease. And one more disease named rabies, which is usually found in the dogs. So rabies is a disease which was described by the scientist named Louis Pasteur, and he discovered the vaccine for this disease also. This disease is present in and it is this disease is found in the dogs. So if the dogs are not vaccinated and if they suffer from the disease called rabies, then this disease can spread to the humans also. If that dog bite the human, then that disease can be transferred to the human and it leads to the death of that person. So the dogs should be vaccinated. He also found the solution for the silk moth diseases. So these are some of the contributions of a biologist named Louis Pasteur. So let us talk about the advantages of food preservation. Nowadays, many food items are preserved and they are packed in such a way that they can be stored for a longer period of time without any spoilage. So many of the fruits and the vegetables are stored in the form of pickles. Okay, so by salting or by dehydrating the food, we can preserve the food, and many of the fruits and the vegetables can be preserved by using these methods, and it can be stored for a longer period of time without any spoilage. So this is the advantage of food preservatives or food preservation methods. And we have seen that some of the fruits are available only in the particular season. For example, in summers we can get the mangoes, but these mangoes can be preserved in some other forms that can be consumed by us. So in this way, the materials or in this way the food items or the fruits that can be available only for a particular season, they can be present or they can be consumed in the other seasons as well by applying the preservative methods. Okay, so these are the advantages of food preservations. And when we talk about the milk, milk is an item which can be stored only for 2 to 3 days. But nowadays the persons are using Tetra packs to store the milk. They are using some specialized Tetra packs, and these Tetra packs doesn't allow the growth of the bacteria in them, so that the milk can be stored for a longer period of time and it can be transferred from one place to another place. Some of the food items needs to get transferred from one place to another place. So this transportation can leads to the spoilage of food because it takes a lot of time. So to preserve the food for a longer period of time, we can go for these kind of preservative methods. Like pasteurization can preserve the milk, and we can use the Tetra packs to preserve and to store the milk. So these are some preservative methods that we need to follow in order to prevent the growth of the bacteria on the food items. Okay. The next thing is pasteurization and sterilization, the difference between these two processes. So just before we have discussed about pasteurization. So the pasteurization is nothing but heating and cooling method by which we can preserve the milk. So invention of pasteurization leads to the invention of sterilization. Here the sterilization is keeping the apparatus free from microbes. So what kind of apparatus we need to keep it free from microbes? The needles, or the injections, the syringes. Okay, so these are the materials that can be used in order to carry out the different surgeries. So the infected blood that stuck to these needles and the syringes, they can be removed by the process called sterilization. Nowadays the doctors are using disposable needles, so the sterilization can also be needed. This process can also be done to clean the dental apparatus and also to clean the laboratory apparatus. The equipments that are present in the laboratory, that can also be cleaned, that can also be free from the microbes by applying the process called sterilization. In the sterilization process, what we need to do is, we keep the apparatus that needs to be cleaned in a sterilizing chamber, and in the sterilizing chamber the apparatus are heated at a very high temperature for 30 minutes. So after heating it for 30 minutes at a very high temperature, the microbes that are present, they can be killed or they can be removed from that apparatus, and in this way they can be cleaned. So this is a process which is called as sterilization. This sterilization can be used to keep the different apparatus free from microbes. Let's have a quick recapitulation of the lesson, the world of microorganisms. So we have seen that the organisms that cannot be seen through our naked eye, that are very minute and can be seen only through the microscope, that organisms are called as microorganisms, and these microorganisms were described by a scientist named Antony van Leeuwenhoek. So he was a great person who made his own handmade microscope, and under his own handmade microscope he observed many mediums, and in that mediums he saw different kinds of microorganisms like bacteria, fungi, algae, protozoans and microarthropods. If we also want to observe these kind of microorganisms, then we need to prepare a mount, we need to prepare a slide. So to prepare a slide, we need a watch glass, cover glass, water and also the sample. So here to observe the bacteria, we can take the sample of buttermilk, because the buttermilk contain bacteria in it. So by taking the drops of the buttermilk on the slide, by heat fixing it and by applying some stain on it and then cover it with the cover glass, then we can observe the bacteria, that too colored bacteria. Okay. As we are using the stain here, we can color the microorganisms. So after staining, we can observe the microorganisms more clearly under the microscope. And to observe the fungi also, we can prepare the different slides by using the different sources. The fungi are of two main kinds, that are macroscopic fungi and microscopic fungi. Macroscopic fungi includes mushroom, and the examples of the microscopic fungi are yeast and mold. So when we keep the bread uncovered for more days, and when we sprinkle water and keep it aside, then some dusty patches appears on that bread. That dusty patches are nothing but fungi, mold. Okay. The next is algae. Algae are usually found in the water, in the pond water or in the tanks. So whatever the green material that appears on the walls of the tanks, that is nothing but algae. So by scraping that material and by preparing the mount of that material, we can observe the algae under the microscope. And protozoans, the different protozoans, Euglena, Paramecium, amoeba, these are the different kinds of protozoans that we can found in the pond water. The next is microarthropods. Microarthropods are usually the arthropods are the jointed leg animals. Okay, jointed legged animals that can be seen by our naked eyes, but here micro means that cannot be seen through our naked eyes. They can be seen only with the help of microscope. So these are called as microarthropods, and these microarthropods are helping the plants to get the nutrients from the soil, but on the other hand, they are acting as a parasites on the human body. They causes many diseases in the human body and acting as a parasite. The next is useful microorganisms. We know that the microorganisms are the organisms that can be useful for the human beings, and they can also be harmful for the living organisms. Okay. So let us see the useful organisms first. So there are many different kinds of microorganisms present that can be used in our day-to-day life activities. that can be used commercially and also in the medical field. So in daily use, we can take the example of curd. The milk turns into curd because of the action of the bacteria in them. And commercial use means in the preparation of alcoholic beverages. So whatever the sources of sugars that can be used, they the different microorganisms like yeast feed on that sources of sugar, and they convert that sugar into the alcohols, and this process is called as fermentation. So commercial use means we can take the example of the process of fermentation that can be possible only by the action of microorganisms. The next is medicinal use. We can see a wide range of medicines present to cure the different kinds of diseases. So this is because of the microorganisms only. Many of the medicines like antibiotics, they are derived from the different microorganisms, and even the vaccines. The vaccines are the weak microorganisms that are injected or that are given orally to the humans in order to prevent the disease. Antibiotics, we take the antibiotics when we suffer from disease. For controlling the bacterial infections, controlling the growth of the microorganisms, we usually take the antibiotics. Antibiotics are nothing but the medicines, but vaccines are the weak microorganisms that helps our body to produces antibodies and to fight against the different kinds of diseases, and vaccination is a process that helps to prevent the different diseases. For example, polio. Polio is a disease that can be prevented by the process of vaccination. Generally, we see that the children below 5-year age, the doctors give them vaccine, polio vaccine, so that the polio disease can be prevented. In this way, the microorganisms are useful in many fields. Let us talk about the harmful microorganisms. So there are many diseases that can be caused by the different kinds of microorganisms in humans, in animals, as well as in plants. The certain diseases like typhoid, tuberculosis, dengue, malaria, these are the diseases that can be caused by the different kinds of microorganisms in the human body. And even in the animals, we can see the diseases like anthrax and rabies. So these are the diseases that can be caused by the microorganisms only, and the microorganisms can enter into the plants as well to cause the different kinds of diseases like ticca disease of groundnut and tobacco mosaic disease. Okay, so these are the different diseases that can be caused by the entry of the microorganisms either from the environment or from the infected person into the healthy individual. The next thing is food poisoning. So food poisoning is nothing but the spoilage of the food. The spoilage of the food takes place because of the growth of the microorganisms on them. So if the microorganisms grow on the particular food item, it releases some toxic materials, and if that food material is consumed by the person, then that person may show the different symptoms, and that symptoms or that condition is called as food poisoning. And this food poisoning is a very dangerous condition that can leads to the death of the person also. The next topic is food preservation. As the food can be spoiled by the microorganisms, so how can we preserve the food? How can we store it? There are different methods by which we can preserve the food. They are salting. By salting, we can maintain the moisture so that the growth of the microorganisms can be prevented, and by adjusting the temperature. If we keep the food in the refrigerator, then it cannot be spoiled by the microorganisms. So in this way, the moisture and the temperature are the two factors that can be controlled, and if these factors are controlled, they can prevent the growth of the different microorganisms on the food materials. Okay, these are the pasteurization is a method of food preservation that is applied for preserving the milk. So if we heat the milk at a higher temperature for 15 to 30 seconds, and if it is chilled suddenly and then it is stored, then it cannot be spoiled by the bacteria. So in this way, the milk can be stored by applying the process of pasteurization. And here the sterilization. Sterilization is a method by which we can keep the equipments and the apparatus free from the microbes. So this is about the lesson, this world of microorganism. I'll be back with a new lesson. Thank you.